Welcome to the Further Light Podcast, presented by Wisconsin Freemasonry, helping you accomplish your Masonic goals through education and more light. And now, I present to you, Brother Chris Lutke.
Listeners, scholars, brothers, this is Brother Chris Lutke, and today I want to look at another one of our summer short series. This one is by Worshipful Brother Pat Cholka, and it is on the Indented Tessel. Getting to the article. In January 2025 issue of the Wisconsin Masonic Journal, Brother Victor Magnus wrote about the Mosaic pavement. He pointed out that this symbol is a striking representation of that balance and duality that is prominent throughout Freemasonry. As we are taught in the ritual that the pavement is a representation of the ground floor of King Solomon's temple, it stands to reason then that this symbol and the moral and ethical choices it represents stand at the foundation of Freemason's character. For me, however, I cannot look at the Mosaic pavement without also considering the Indented Tessel that surrounds it and the blazing star that illuminates it. Together, these three symbols combine to form the ornaments of the lodge. I'm not going to retread any of the information Brother Magnus wrote about, as he gave it more justice than I could. The blazing star I will leave for a future article. Here, I'm going to explore the Indented Tessel. But first, let's explore the choice of the word ornament. It always seems odd to me that our Masonic forefathers would designate something so important as these three symbols as a mere decoration to our lodges, yet go on to assign such important meaning to them. While we may never know the full reason for this designation, there are several theories as to why. One theory is that this classification was chosen because of their beauty, not that they are to beautify the lodge. A second theory is that this classification was chosen for reasons akin to why the accessories of worship in a Christian church, such as the altar, chalice, and sacred vessels, are classified as ornaments. Whatever the reason, I think we can all agree that these three symbols serve the lodge a far greater purpose than just to adorn it. Next, we must address the name, the Indented Tessel, or tessellated border as we refer to it in ritual. I was unaware until I began researching the topic for this article that there has been some debate about whether the Indented Tessel, tessellated border, tassel, or even tarsal is correct. Some Masonic scholars, such as Mackey, point to John Brown's work, Master Key, which is supposed to present the general information of the Prestonian lectures, or Preston's original lectures from the 1760s and 70s. Which identifies it as the tessellated border, while Thomas Webb identifies it as an indented tessel. Whatever form you believe reflects the original intention of the authors of the ritual, I will choose to go with indented tessel as is written in our ritual. The next question we must answer is, what is an indented tessel? We find that the act of tessellating something, according to Cambridge, is to fit shapes together in a pattern with no spaces in between. Webster defines it as having a checkered appearance, oddly reminiscent, if not redundant, of the Mosaic pavement that the Indented Tessel is said to surround. However, both Brown and Webb describe the Indented Tessel as the border or skirting around King Solomon's temple and then around the lodge. Both the French and German rituals define it as a strong cord of thread tied in a lover's knot. If you examine the images of the ornaments of the lodge as we see it today, you will see that the Mosaic pavement, depicted with a checkered border, made up of various geometric shapes in some, and in others with a cord or even multiple cords surrounding it. I tend to subscribe to the idea that the Indented Tessel was intended to be a cord, as it fits more nicely in my mind with the definition provided in our ritual. There is not much of an explanation of the Indented Tessel in ritual. Just a few short words, in fact. But this is one of the few symbols in our ritual that needs very little in terms of explanation. Our ritual tells us it represents, quote, those blessings and comforts which surround us. Simple and straightforward. Clearly, Considering this, we are reminded by the symbol to appreciate the blessings that as humans we have received, those of health, friends, family, and so on, and to allow them to comfort us, perhaps especially when life has handed us the challenges it so often does. I have a hard time connecting this explanation to the checkered appearance that the literal definition leads us to. Based on that explanation, I feel a cord is more apt to enrobe us in those blessings and comforts. There is more evidence that perhaps the indented tessel was meant to be a cord. The French ritual says that it is intended, quote, to teach the Freemason that society of which he constitutes a part surrounds the earth, and that distance so far from relaxing the bonds which unite the members to each other ought to draw them closer together. German scholar C. Lenning says that it symbolized the fraternal bond by which all Freemasons are united. In the English ritual, there are 4 tassels on the cord that surround the mosaic pavement, one at each of the corners. These 4 tassels represent the cardinal virtues of temperance, fortitude, prudence, and justice, and through them, the 4 principal parts of the guttural, pectoral, manual, and pedal. Perhaps then the indented tessel or the tessellated border is simply a corruption of tassel that has persisted over time. Any link to these additional meanings in ritual of other parts of the world has been lost to some extent in our ritual and to most of the rituals in the United States. Whether these links are real or perhaps someone searching to assign a deeper meaning to an otherwise straightforward symbol, the meanings and importance of the indented tessel is clear. The indented tessel is there to remind us to recognize and embrace the blessings of our lives and allow them to comfort us in times of trouble. And that might be the most important lesson of the indented tessel or tassel or however you want to call it. At the end of the day, the mosaic pavement represents the good and the bad, represents the difficulties and blessings of life. And sometimes when we're going through those difficulties, having those blessings, that surrounding, that reminder that, hey, we do have incredible blessings. Just our very existence is a blessing. Maybe that's the importance. Remembering in times of trouble that there is good in the universe, that there are things that are going to be helpful to us, and that not all hope is ever truly lost. That being said, I want to thank you, brothers, for joining me, Brother Chris Leakey, and the entire Further Light team on your quest to find more light through Masonry.
Are you interested in learning more about Freemasonry in Wisconsin? Visit wisconsinmasons.org to learn more about Masonry and access further educational content and more light. Once again, that address is wimasons.org. Any questions, comments, or suggestions, please email us at education@wisconsinmasons.org. And thank you for listening.